Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about octaves and unisons on the guitar and trying to relate them to the staff notation. So here on the guitar at the 12th fret, we can easily find an octave. What that means is that if you play an open string and you count down all the frets till you get to 12, you will have a complete 12-note cycle, which will create an octave at the 12th fret. Here's a pretty simple way of visualizing that. We start with our open A string, and then we just count down per fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. And at the 12th fret, we find our octave. And the reason that I chose A is because it's right on the English alphabet, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then A. And then, of course, our accidentals fill in those extra spots. Okay, so I want to discuss a little bit about unison notes as they appear on the guitar. One of the idiosyncrasies of the guitar specifically is that the same note can appear in different places on the neck, and we call these unison notes. Now, because of the diameter of the strings, their timbre is not always exact. Sometimes they sound slightly different in color, or their texture is a little different, but they are technically the same note. And so when we're looking at sheet music, it can be a little confusing because we don't know exactly which note to choose. And sometimes it ends up being at the discretion of the individual guitarist to figure that out. Okay, let's take a look here. So this note here is actually the low E on the guitar. It's actually the lowest note that you can play. This note here would just be F on the first fret of the low E string. Now this example with two ledger lines below and on the line, that's going to be A. And this is going to be the first time we're going to run into a unison. So one example is going to be on the 5th fret of the E string, and the other one is going to be the open A of the 5th string. This next note, B here, also can exist in two separate places, but as the same pitch on the guitar neck. This note C exists in two different places as well. This one below the ledger line we're going to call D. This exists in three places. So here on the line we've got E. So E can exist, this particular E can exist in three places on the guitar. But I want you to take note of these three, but this one is not the same. And this one is not the same. And this one is not the same. And that's because those are in a different octave. So they're still the same note, but a different octave. Don't let that confuse you. Just like that, boom, F, G, B. You might even have an extra one way over here if you kept counting your frets up. D, E. This is our high E string. We've moved all the way across the neck. So earlier I mentioned how there are some different octaves. So here in this example, with three ledger lines above, we're going to get this E. And that E appears again here. Okay, so just to be clear, notes exist across the fretboard diagonally in unison. For example, this note down here is an A, but that one way up there is an A. These are octaves apart. There's actually another octave that lives in the middle of these two. I'll mark that in blue here. And that lives in the middle of the fretboard. You see, but the same note appears over and over again. So this is where it can get a little confusing, but as long as we keep on top of it and we understand where they live in relationship to the sheet music we're looking at, it's not too complicated to get past that.